Commerce page. Once it goes live, which looks like we're live now, you can share it to your own page, and then your audience will be able to watch it as well.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
But do I have to go live on Facebook, like on my personal, and then share it?
No, you just go to the Pearland Chamber of Commerce.
Oh,
You'll
like on my
see-
phone to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You share it and then they can watch it now.
You're streaming
Right.
live on
We're
Facebook.
live. Hi.
Everybody
Good
say
morning.
hello.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining our Business and Entrepreneurship Development Committee meeting. We have an excellent panel today of experts in our field of our topic, of which we're talking about self-care, health and wellness. We know that this is something that's so very much so important. And how do we get a work-life balance? I'm going to be listening in very well, but we know going through the COVID pandemic, it's been so much, and it's hard on so many people. It's hard on the business owners trying to manage and run a business during a pandemic. It's hard on the employees. It's hard on their families having to deal with this. And we know there's lots of mandates and information, and a lot of it's become political. And so there's people that's really just trying to make life and death decisions with a bunch of information at their disposal. And that can tax on them, and that can weigh on them, that can stress on them. A lot of people's anxiety is really high. And so we thought it was very important to bring this discussion to the table, because for one, as business owners and business leaders, we need to be prepared for ourselves in order to lead our organizations. And then we need to understand what's going on with our employees and their families, because in order for them to perform well, they need to be in a good space. And then we want to be able to support them if they are having something going on. So we thought this topic was very important. We're just going to do quick introductions of a few people that have joined us via Zoom. And then we're going to turn over the panel. We're going to turn it over to the discussion, a presentation that Crystal's going to do. So I'd just like to introduce myself. I am Kiana James, and I'm with Friendly Faces Senior Care. And I am the VP for the Business and Development Chamber on our executive board for the Pearland Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to turn it over to Tony. We will introduce each of our panelists, since we will do the panel discussion after the presentation. So if you just give a brief overview of who you are. So Tony, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty. Good morning. My name is Tony Vale. I am here with the Chamber, Vice President of Business and Expansion, and I do help Kiana and Brianne with the Entrepreneurial series. And I'm very happy to join you guys and hear about health and wellness as well. Sorry, technical difficulties this morning.
And she's running our Zoom, so hopefully it does okay.
Right.
I want to introduce my co-chair for the Business and Development Committee, Miss Brianne.
Thank you, Kiana. My name is Brianne Salcedo, and I am the proud owner of Action Coach Pearland and Action Coach Friendswood. I am also the co-chair of this awesome committee and the chamber, active in the Pearland Chamber. I would say that this subject is near and dear to my heart, because many business owners that come for business coaching don't recognize the importance of self-care. And part of mastering the business is mastering yourself. So literally it is the foundation, self-mastery. And then how do we lead in a healthy self-care environment and translate that to our staff? So I'm so looking forward to business owners and business leaders and team getting all of this awesome advice and action items today. And so I just ask that if you are watching, please put a pen to paper and come up with your number one action item, so you're not just listening, but you're actually doing to become a healthy person and organization. Excited to be here. Thanks, Kenna.
Thank you. And I know we have Amber. I think she's driving. I don't know if she's able to come off mute and say hi. Okay. She may not be able to. So we have Amber from Friendly Faces who's going to be listening in as well. We'd like to
Hi, I did want to say hello. Thank you. Sorry, it just took me a minute to get to the mute button. I'm a liaison for the Friendswood Clear Lake League City area, this kind of the southeast side for Kiana, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for a few years now.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, we have Dr. Ofordele. If you would introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Daniel L.B. Ofordele. I'm the owner of Rapid Response, as you can see at the back. We're a small urgent care here in Pearland, Texas, and very involved with the community. So that's it.
Thank you. And we have Jennifer. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. So it says JJ.
Juno.
JJ.
Juno.
Jennifer Juno. Yes, my name is Jennifer Juno. I'm a physical therapist. I'm a certified personal trainer for Camp Gladiator and also a nutrition coach. Very near and dear to my heart is this topic. So
Thank you for joining us. And we have Darlene.
Hey, my name is Darlene Moss, and I'm a holistic entrepreneur and a founding partner with ID Life. Yes, this is definitely dear to my heart because I have a strong passion for helping people live their best life, and I help on a day-to-day basis, customize things for people based on their DNA. So I'm a busy mom. I am a pro bodybuilder and also a personal trainer. So I stay very busy. So this is really key to helping people really perform at the optimal best.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And then now we're going to turn it over because we're going to be on a tight time schedule. We're going to turn it over to Miss Crystal Sarmiento, and she's going to give us a presentation. First, if you'll give us a bio about yourself, so just introduce yourself. And then she's going to talk on the subject, making self-care a priority for better work-life balance. After Crystal finishes with her presentation, then we're going to go into question and answers with our panel discussions with our panelists that have joined us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So first of all, I just want to thank everybody who's either logged in, watching, to the panel here, and the Chamber of Commerce, because we love this community and all of the resources that when we all collectively come together, I feel like we're able to make lasting impacts in the community and with other business owners. As Kiana said, my name is Crystal De Leon Sarmiento, and I'm the owner and founder of The R-Resource. And we do executive coaching, business coaching, just like Brianne herself. And for me, this particular topic is very near and dear to my heart. I think that we've all kind of heard over the last, whatever our corporate career life has been, work-life balance, you hear this trend, but we never really saw it impact, I believe, as heavy as we have in the last year and a half since COVID has hit. Why? Because ultimately we've had a lot of time on our hands, right? But we've also been kind of thrown into having to manage and balance life and work all in the same place, where a lot of us get to disconnect, get in our car, commute out, focus on work, be at work, and then transition back home. And a lot of us have found ourselves having to really face life and work in our face. And I myself, being a business owner and also a coach, have found myself dealing with teams, especially small businesses, how to manage and navigate that crisis with our employees when we ourselves are having to navigate, find the balance, and not lose sight of mental health, physical health, emotional health, and still be effective and productive. This topic could be an entire long day seminar, an 8-hour seminar. So I'm going to do my best to condense it because there's so much information that we can really give to help empower, but to also bring to light that this is something we're all dealing with, myself included. And it's okay, right? It's okay to acknowledge that these are things that are happening and we're not alone. Other business owners are going through it. But like Brianne said, if we take action and make things happen, then we can help alleviate that and put the focus back on balance, right? So if you all will join me, I'm going to share a little bit of a ebook that I wrote specifically about this topic. It's very short, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to use it as a resource to kind of point to, and then we'll discuss these topics. But with that being said, I'm going to ask, if it's okay with you guys, what is the first thing that comes to mind when we think of work-life balance? Anybody?
Being able to stay away from burnout.
Stress.
Exactly. Burnout, right? And there can be detrimental effects from having mental burnout. Our immune systems are depleted, which we don't have the luxury of having happen around these times, right? And then I'm going to talk about another topic while I'm going in. So I want you guys to really think about, what has facing a crisis in the business setting, how has that impacted the way we look at our work-life balance, right? Some of us feel guilty sometimes that we're not working 24/7, or we're working so much we're not focusing on our children who are at home. And then we feel bad because our bosses are expecting us to work. So then these expectations are they're everywhere. And it's okay. We're all trying to manage it. And as long as we dissect that and make a pretty powerful action plan and stick to it, we're all going to get through this. And leading through crisis is so fundamental, especially when we're trying to navigate through the jungles of work-life balance during the pandemic. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and forgive me, just give me a second. Let me get this baby going. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So why is healthy work-life balance important? Obviously, the benefits are fulfillment, right? People who successfully implement work-life balance improve their sense of fulfillment at work and at home. Your health decreases the risk of heart disease and other health problems, which I'm sure the doctor, right, can speak to, right? The effects of not having a good work-life balance, not having proper sleep habits, all of those risks that come associated with not putting our health, in a priority. Greater productivity, right? We're more efficient, we're more productive, we're more chipper, we're happier to be around. Our teams want to come around us more and actually approach us when we have a healthy work-life balance, right? Because it's reflective in the way we carry ourselves and the energy that we bring to those around us. Stronger relationships, right? Personal and professional relationships are strengthened and conflicts are avoided when there is proper and healthy work-life balance. What are the risks? We already mentioned poor health. It's no secret that working long hours without taking time to relax, to take that breather, maybe get out from the desk, take a walk around the block, just disconnect and have some activity to help relax and take some deep breaths, that will take a toll on our health. And once that happens, that becomes kind of like a domino effect. Poor health, you start missing days, productivity goes down, you're irritated, your energy's depleted. It's not good. Unresolved conflict. This is something that most people don't associate work-life balance with, is unresolved conflict, but it can create conflicts at work and at home, right? We can dive into that a little more, maybe on another call. But that's something that I really want to highlight, because we want to be people, if we're good leaders and we're good business owners and good home managers, right? We want to be able to nip conflict in the bud. And in order to do that, we have to be well rested, relaxed, and have good energy. The next one is poor performance, right? Taking on too much responsibility will lead to exhaustion and cause poor performance. I can relate to that, right? Not having that balance where I say, okay, I'm done. I'm cutting the computer off. I'm not going to send another email, will then trickle into less sleep. I'm groggy, more coffee in the morning, that sleep brain not functioning right, typos, forgetting to respond. I mean, it really has a domino effect. And then financial loss. That's another one. I really like this one because a lot of people don't look at the bigger picture of a work-life balance, right? We don't have that. we're not really focusing on the fact that, hey, we're in business and we're here to make money and help our employees make money, right? And if you're serving your customers and helping them in their businesses, then we're also trying to help them impact their bottom line. And so the impact on health and productivity takes a financial toll on both individual employees and organizations, right? I bet we can start to see how that can really affect companies. Right now, there are companies that are struggling connecting and communicating with their employees, their organizations, because we have been forced to figure out how to balance in a healthy way this new system, navigating a pandemic and leading through crisis. This is huge. So many people that operate in disaster recovery modes, that's the nature of their business. They know how to do this, right? They're experts. But the world at large, the person like you and I, that small business owner, that person that is managing a small business, a 2 to 3 employee business, or maybe an organization that has 50 employees, we've all been put in the driver's seat of having to figure out those coordinates of how do I lead through crisis, right? And for me, it's really important that when we're working with our clients or we're reflecting on ourselves, that we really take a look at that, because crisis tends to kind of amplify the type of leader that we are, right? It doesn't create the leader we are, it magnifies it, right? And so being able to identify all these risks as a leader and navigating a healthy work-life balance and the emotional toll that it can take really is on us as leaders, right? As we lead our organizations as business owners and home managers, right? I'm speaking to that mom that works from home, or the dad nowadays. So here's some questions to look at. Are we suffering from an imbalance, right? The signs of imbalance are unmistakable. We see people suffering from poor health, burnout, like the doctor just said, and stress every single day. For companies, this increases costs in forms of absenteeism, health cost, and turnover, right? Turnover directly impacts our bottom line and then creates another layer of stress, right? That we now have to deal with. And we're on this reactive mode instead of a planning mode. And so it becomes another domino effect. And if we recognize these signs in our life or in our organization, we need to act immediately and focus on creating a healthier work-life balance. Poor health brought on by an imbalance includes the following: sometimes obesity. Not taking time to exercise or eat healthy can increase obesity, which is connected to heart disease and numerous other health risks, right? High blood pressure, diabetes. You know, there's so many things that come into effect when we don't give ourselves the time that we deserve to take care of our mind, our emotions, and our body. And exercise, and I'm sure our ladies on the panel and the doctor can all agree that having a consistent, healthy routine can help us with our mental health, but also our physical health, so that we're operating in a very healthy way. Exhaustion. Sleeping well can add years to a person's life, right? And the vice versa can take away, it can steal from our life, not only the days of our life, but the quality of our life, right? Sacrificing sleep for work will have negative effects on health and increase the chances of getting sick. Right now, can we all agree that nobody wants to get sick? Like, I don't want the COVID, I don't want the flu, I don't want none of it. I want to be optimal, I want to be radiating, I want to have energy, I want to help impact. And so I need to be healthy for that, right? I need to be able to overcome, I need my immune system sharp, and I need my mind clear. I need to be able to act when I'm in that mode of reaction, right? And the last one is emotional problems. Right? Emotional problems, stress and exhaustion will wreak havoc on emotional well-being. This will affect relationships and personal identity. That's a big one, right? When we come to work and we have emotional problems, we can't really operate right. We're not in our highest self. We're not operating in the highest form that we can operate in. It impedes us, right, from operating there. So all these things tie into each other, into creating that healthy work-life balance. So I'm going to move on to time management. As a business coach and an executive coach and an entrepreneur and a mom, I believe this is one of the biggest things that we all suffer with or can work better on is time management. And if we learn to create a plan to create that time management, then we can create margin in our day so that we can take those breaks, have those breathers, focus on a little bit of meditation, focus on, really rejuvenating our emotions and our state of mind so that we can then have peak performance, right? Time management, a lot of people don't really give it the place it deserves, I believe. I think we talk a lot about time management, but it is the most hardest thing to actually implement because, as Brianne said, she said, we have to master ourselves. And in order to master ourselves and master time management, that comes with discipline. So all of these things are tied into each other, right? Discipline, self-management, time management, mental wellness, our life, our work-life balance, it all together creates this harmony and this balance so that we're operating in the best way we can, not just for ourselves, but for those around us, right? And this is my favorite thing. It took me years, literally years, to learn to say no. Learn to say no. It's okay, right? Managing time requires that people learn to say no. It probably seems cruel to some, but it's impossible to meet everyone's needs. We must learn to say no kindly, but firmly. Do not allow people to talk you into urgent tasks. We need to stick to a schedule and a plan of action. Do not deviate unless it's a true emergency, right? And one of those things that I like to talk about is the quadrants, right? Urgent, important, unimportant, right? Dissecting when somebody brings a task to you and they're like, it's an emergency. It's okay to say, hey, I have things going on. Is this urgent and important? Is it important or is it non-urgent? Because I have a list of priorities I'm working on. So I need to know, is this urgent and important? And it's okay to step forward and ask for that, right? Because that is managing ourselves. And it also creates a boundary so that people are not just loading us up with tasks and unrealistic expectations of deadlines. That creates stress, that creates long nights of working. It creates a false way of being able to be productive. Doesn't work well. Stay flexible. And then the 80-20 rule, we've all heard of it, right? It's the result of 20% of our actions really account for 80% of the productivity. I don't want to go into that. We can talk about goal setting, but really and truly, I'm going to close out because I want to give other people an opportunity to chat about this, okay? What are some strategies, right, to create balance at home? What are some things that we can do to help us that maybe we're already doing, right? But I really want to focus on this portion of it of what are some things that have worked for you, or what are some tips that we give our colleagues, our team members, or our clients, right, on disconnecting from work and being present at home when we're at home, and being fully present and engaged when it's work time, right? Some of the things that I do, let me be honest, some of the things I'm trying to do and doing better at, because I don't do as good of a job, is turning my phone off, right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I find myself, especially these days, putting together this book launch, which is next Thursday. I'm on my phone at 1 a.m. And sometimes at like 10 p.m., after I've tucked my daughter into bed, she comes back, Mom, turn your phone off. Mom, I'm like, one more text, one more email, one more Instagram reply, one more scroll, right? And that's me being honest with you guys that I struggle with this too. I struggle with the repetitiveness of scrolling and not implementing that boundary of it's time to turn the phone off. And when I do that, I'm stealing. I am stealing from tomorrow. I'm stealing from my own energy that I need. I'm stealing from the joy that I might have in that moment with my daughter. Turning the phone off, the phone is going to be there. It's always going to be there, right? But this moment right now, I need to really nurture that. And doing that increases good hormones. It increases endorphins, right? Because hugging has a lot of good benefits. So turn the phone off and hug somebody, hug yourself. I don't know, hug a bear, hug a toy, hug a dog, hug your child, hug your spouse. But doing that, there's so many benefits to just being in the moment and turning it off. The next is taking me time. Sometimes my me time is in my car. Like, I don't want nobody around. I get in my car and I take a drive to the post office and I put some music on to just me. Just me. Sometimes I need that moment for my sanity, right? As much as I want to pretend that I am Wonder Woman and I can do all things through God who strengthens me and I can do it all, I can't. We really need to give ourselves that me time. And then maintain our boundaries. Maintain our boundaries, right? And then stress management, exercise and eating well, the good things that add to that. So let's go back here. I want to hear you guys. What are some strategies that you guys can share with us on creating less work, less stress, leaving work at work, and being at home and being really present? Anybody?
This is something that I'm working on. I will say for me personally, I do make time for the spa. But putting the phone down, yeah, I get complaints about that at home. But I will say one thing that I did that has helped over the last 6 to 8 months is I really hired after hours, someone in my company to handle the after hours flow of the office. And that was something that's the norm in the industry, but something that I really had not hired someone to do. I was doing myself. And so I said, once I got that program into place, I actually felt like I could breathe. So that is an improvement I made. Yes,
right?
delegation.
Delegating is so powerful, but the business owner, sometimes we're afraid of letting go, right? We want to control it all. But while we're controlling it all, we're also like inhibiting our own oxygen. Like there's so much freedom and power in learning to delegate. And then we realize, oh, why didn't I delegate a long time ago, right? Yeah. Delegating creates a healthy work-life balance. I agree. Yeah. I totally agree.
I was going to say, Crystal, one of the things that you're saying super powerful is congruency. So I literally have made the word congruency like a daily affirmation for me that if I'm going to be a business leader and I'm going to step on stage and talk about habits. So I love your transparency, but as I began the firm and went through COVID and had to be a stay-at-home mom and a stay-at-home teacher and a business, building the firm and taking care of the team and everything else, I haven't been exercising and I gained weight and I'm just not comfortable. And I'm like, how can I talk about habits and self-mastery when I'm really, I felt like I'm not being the best version of myself. My home life is great. My marriage is great. My business is great, but I'm forgetting to master myself. And it's one of the hardest things to do with consistency. So I added congruency to my vocabulary, into my thoughts. And if I desire my team to do these things and my client, then what am I doing? So to be honest, as we're here today, the panelists even, so Daniel's my doctor and talking about like, hey, how can I be my optimal self? Like, what do I need? What's going on with me medically? And JJ is actually my nutritionist. JJ's my trainer. I speak to Darlene all the time about like supplements and, she's a trainer as well. So finding external coaches and external people in my life, even if I know it, to actually coach me and hold me accountable has been really important.
I agree with that so much because, again, we're experts in our things, but there's nothing like having somebody that we can go to hold us accountable to like, hey, did you go to sleep on time? What's your work schedule like? Like, how can I help you be your better self? So I agree with that. It's interesting because I find myself at 2 in the morning. Last night I was up till 2 in the morning. And then I wake up at 6 and I'm teaching my clients
To sleep more and
to
sleep
turn
better.
it off.
Crystal, I'm gonna get your number and text you and say, go to sleep, put it down.
Trust me.
And I'm gonna make a transition just because of time. We want to
Yeah.
go into our panelists,
Let's do it.
and then we'll probably wrap back into this. But we do have some questions, and so we'll just let it flow. Again, if it's not your area of expertise, we have a pretty diverse panelist group, and Crystal, feel free to comment too. But I'm going to ask a question, and then we'll kind of go around. So, talking about health and wellness, as professionals in health and wellness, can you describe the difference between proactive versus reactive health?
Oh.
And I'm going to start with Jennifer.
Okay. So proactive is you are here now, you're wanting to improve your lifestyle, you're no comorbidities, you're searching, whether it's, going for a daily walk, whether it's for exercise, things like that. Reactive is I go to the doctor, I get that diagnosis of, I'm pre-diabetic. I'm in heart failure. Something that's going to kind of light that fire to provoke you to seek out that healthy lifestyle. And so, hopefully we can get more people before it comes to that point being more proactive versus the reactive.
Nice one.
Thank you. And Dr. Afodele?
Yeah. So my take on proactive and reactive, both states, you still need the physician pretty much. You could, so for proactive, before you actually come down with an illness, say you have conditions that run within your family that you know of, you go to get those tests done to see if you're likely to get them. So that's you being pro. Getting vaccinated is being pro. So you're trying to prevent disease. Working out, taking your vitamins to stay healthy, to improve your immune system, that's being pro. Being reactive is like you now have conditions, like, maybe the start of diabetes, like Jennifer said, and you come to the doctor. It's unfortunate that in the health industry, we don't tend to have a whole lot of, CPT codes for someone seeking health. We do have the general, the general exam that you probably go to the doctor once a year, check all your labs to see if you're getting close to any of the big diseases. But there's nothing like where you come in and the patient says, hey, doc, I'm trying to get my oxidative stress lower. We don't have like a diagnosis for that, even though we could put you on supplements to get your oxidative ability to fight diseases, but there's no CPT code for that. So those things that don't have CPT codes, you tend to pay out of pocket. And guess what? Most patients don't want to pay out of pocket. So they tend not to do it. So I think the biggest thing is if we're able to revamp how we see health and how we receive it. So health and wellness, coaches like Jennifer, so that's where they come in,
Can I say something to that, Daniel? I think that's where you taught me a lot about like changing mindset, the mindset of
Right.
people of what you're not going to pay for now and being in proactive health, you're going to pay for later in reactive health. And it reminds me of this little cartoon that I saw where there's a line of people waiting in a pharmacy line and it says
Right.
pharmacy medication here. And the
Yeah.
line is out the door around the corner. And then here's some exercise and nutrition, health advice. And the line has
is
nobody.
just very
or two, So people
Right.
tend to lean on the reactive strategies because it per
Exactly.
se is the easier, cheap way, not predicting the future of expense and
Exactly.
even life, losing your life.
Yeah. And I always say in life, period, pay now or pay later.
Yep.
Okay.
Pay now
But
or
I
pay
think-
later.
Yeah, I think
Right.
I think
And
it's,
I'm
you know,
gonna
you want to treat
Okay.
the symptoms and not treat the source,
Yeah.
Right.
because it brings you out of that uncomfortable zone. You know, you're comfortable over here. It's comfort. And then when you have to switch your whole mindset and your lifestyle, it's uncomfortable. And most people don't like to be uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And before we go to Darlene to get your thoughts, our panelists, would you please put your contact information and your business name in the chat? And then Tony can put it in our Facebook Live as well, because we have a lot of people online and they're making comments and interacting. And thank you guys for joining us, our Facebook family. So Darlene, what is your thoughts on the whole proactive versus reactive?
So when you think of proactive versus reactive, the first thing that comes to mind is saying no to a win-then mindset. When I get sick, then I'll take care of it. Especially from an entrepreneur perspective, we are so busy building our businesses. We're so busy taking care of everybody else. So it's always, when I get sick, then I'll figure it out. So try to, the first thing is addressing that and getting away from it. When you're proactive, you're empowering yourself, because I really believe when we know better, we do better. So proactive, learning about your body, learning how it ticks, what works for you, what doesn't. That's being proactive. Reactive is waiting for that diagnosis. Like Obi said, like waiting for that, oh, this is wrong now, or I can't breathe, or my oxygen levels are low. Like you're waiting for that. That's being reactive. And now you're just trying to fix it. You're trying to put a Band-Aid on it right away. Proactive is making sure that there's never a wound. Reactive is just trying to hurry up and fix a Band-Aid so you can get back to work. And that becomes self-sabotage. So getting away from that win-then mindset. When I get sick, then I'll fix it. Get away from that. Be proactive, learn, figure out your independent thinking, what's going to work for you, because we can ask people for advice all day long on how to be proactive. But a big part of being proactive is really empowering yourself, learning for yourself. Because when you know and you understand it, you have a much higher percentage, I guess you could say, of really sticking with something and making that, a lifestyle change, and versus falling into that by default reactive. Because by default, if we don't know and we don't really understand it, we're going to get away from it. We're just going to start reacting. So empowering yourself so that you don't fall into that default state.
Yeah, thank you. And we had one of our guests, Amber. She said, for every $1 spent on your health proactively, it will save you $3 later on being reactive.
Ooh, that's
It was
good.
very
That's
interesting.
really good.
Crystal, what are your thoughts? I
Well,
see you nodding your head and shaking.
I'm loving this. Well, because part of this is literally one of the topics that we talk about when we're doing coaching and training. Most people, we default, like she just said, we default to the comfort zone. And typically it's a catastrophic situation that forces us to then take action, right? Most people don't do that. Why? Because we have an idea of like where I want to be. Oh, I really want to be boom, 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 fit, the owner of a company, be successful, be super healthy, live to be 99, not have diabetes and all these things. And we know that we want to get here and this is where we are. But then there's an idea in our mind, a pattern of that nothing from here to here is like, oh, the pain I'm going to have to go through to get here, right? And so you never take action. And before you know it, you get past the point of no return. And it's like catastrophic. Now I need to react. And it's like, right now you're doing all this work to try and get back up, when really, if we can just realize that it is our patterns that we're created to really want to take the path of least resistance, even if it's toxic for us, even if it means no change, right? But that's where our mindset comes in, is, do I really want, like, having those topics, like, if I don't make this decision and change now, this is where it's going to lead. It's the mindset of, you know what? If I don't make a change, I have to be okay with the outcome. Period. But do I want a better life? I'm going to go through that pain, right? It's hard.
Crystal, I was going to add on to that. That's so powerful. And if anyone has a pen, I'm always like, take action. But we have this formula in Action Coach, and it's D times V. So you're multiplying D times V plus F has to be greater than resistance. So what is D times V? dissatisfaction times vision. If I want to be healthier, I have to have enough pain. I have to dig in and identify my pain. And then I have to have vision. If I don't have pain and I don't have vision at the same time, what do I want my body to look like? What do I want my energy to be like? And then I take the first steps. And guess what? That pain and pleasure, or that pain and vision, whatever it is, has to be greater than resistance. And typically resistance is our internal mind trash, head talking, you can't do it, it's too hard, you don't want to change. And so, like I said, getting coaches to help you and getting facts and education so you can compound that internal dialogue that you have for yourself and get to that vision. So that formula always.
I agree. I feel like I mean, honestly, being vulnerable here, right? Like I have all these goals, but it takes an extreme amount of self pushing forward to make these changes. But a lot of the times it takes us to take that first step and then realize, oh, it's not that bad, right? Sometimes we make it bigger in our head, the pain that we're going to endure, right? And so we never take action, like you said. I think that all of this really does tie back into how can we start having the conversations of wellness in the workplace, and really saying, how are we going to create a balance in the workplace so that we have a better fruit, right? That we have all the positives that come from taking the action before it gets out of hand. And let's really drive the ship. Let's not wait for the ship to go off course and then try to let's take it out of autopilot. Let's take ourselves off of autopilot and be very conscientious of the choices that we're not making, right? Versus what we are making, so that we can be not reactive, but proactive, right? Being proactive is self-management, but it's also, what does that look like? Let's have these conversations. Do you really want work-life balance? What would it look like if you burned out? Who is at stake if we burn out?
And I like here how, Brian, you put in the chat, the easy way at the moment is the hard way at the end.
Amen. Amen. I love that.
Proactive.
I love that.
That's some like guru stuff.
We're going to move
Daniel,
on.
Is that the stuff I tell you?
Guru statements.
We're going to move on because of time, because I know we could talk on this one all day long.
Yeah.
Our next question is, what ideas do you have to promote good health in the work and team environment? And I'm going to start with Darlene.
So what I have found and seen in the work environment is people like community. People like feeling like they're part of something. Mm-hmm. So within a workplace, when you begin to create challenges, you create ways for people to want to learn about health. You'll have weight loss challenges, you'll have push-up challenges, just different things that really, really encourage people to move forward doing something healthy. Because if you just say, okay, we're all going to get healthy, well, what does that look like? Because half the time people don't know what it looks like. Maybe come in and bring an expert, bring someone like myself or someone like, I'm going to call you JJ because I love that. Like somebody like JJ. So people have direction, and it may be a Friday lunch and learn. Like, hey, this is what we're thinking about. Let's build teams, let's build communities, because people most often will do something for someone else before they'll do it for themselves.
That's so true.
It really is. It's key. I will not do French Fry Friday because my son is watching me and he knows that I'm on a challenge. So I'll do it more for that than I will enjoying the French fries, because I want to go enjoy French fries. So I think that's really big. And I've seen so much success in that. A water challenge, if you're leading a team, figure out what can be healthy. Weight loss challenge doesn't always, mean effectiveness for the workplace, but what about a water challenge? What about a step challenge? Things that are going to help people build together, because, human connectivity is huge. And when you have somebody that feels like they're part of something, that's going to go a lot further away.
Now I'm craving French fries. Thank you.
It's Friday. It's
French
Friday.
fries never been healthy.
Jennifer, JJ,
we do like
what are
Flax
your
Seed
thoughts?
Friday or something.
I actually had French fries this week.
Yeah. Okay, stop talking about French fries.
Hey, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, I totally agree with Darlene. You know, with Camp Gladiator, we partner with corporations. We have fit chats. We go in, whatever topic, whether it's, you know, more movement in the workplace, healthy, you know, meal preps, stuff like that. We come in and we talk, you know, even just challenging your coworker instead of trying to get that parking place right up in the front, you know, park way back there and walk in. If you have stairs, take the elevator, you know, throughout the day. I mean, just little things, you know, that can eventually start becoming better habits. That's the thing, is developing those good habits from the get-go, you know, and you may need that accountability buddy from the get-go. You know, ultimately it's up to you. It's your body, it's your life. But, you know, kind of just promoting that, that wellness amongst you guys, you know, to get moving.
Jennifer, how about the who could park the furthest away from the office challenge?
Right? Exactly. Who can take their bike to work? I mean, you know, of course,
Awesome.
safely taking their bike to work. But yeah, I mean, there's the movement challenge, there's ab challenges, there's, you know, that like Darlene said, the water. This is, you know, the water challenge right here. Hey, there you go. You got it marked out on your different times. I'm way behind, just by the way. But yeah, you know, there's so much that you can do. You know, with Fiji, we have, you know, a check-in challenge, you know, getting your check-ins, and being held accountable. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do.
Dr. Afodele?
Yeah, so I agree with what Jennifer and Darlene said so far, but I think for me, the biggest part is being mindful of the mental state of your workers or your colleagues and everything. Like, we need to be able to stop and look at each other and actually talk to each other and find out how do you feel today. And if someone is normally like all chatty, is all quiet, somebody needs to reach out and find out and make sure, you know, have a sense of belonging and family, right? Because most times if people just feel they're not really valued, then they don't bring their best. And of course, the work life becomes challenging. Okay, so that's, to me, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, just being able to connect and have everyone be able to talk. And then we need to be mindful of the hours. They one or two employees that are always there. They're like the backbone of most of the business, but you need to also watch that out because they're the first to get burnt out. And the next thing, you lose an amazing staff, you know? So hours, and then you need to be mindful of the emotional state of your.
And I'm gonna comment on that. That's so important because one of the things that's new during this COVID pandemic is virtual working. You know, we're meeting together right now on Zoom. And so one of the things that we notice is now with the move out of the offices more into work from home environment, you lose that interaction. You're communicating by email, you're communicating by text or by chat. And a lot of times there's mixed messages and you can't understand tone. And sometimes you can't tell if somebody is truly going through something. So one of the things that we've implemented at work that we're working on, and Crystal is helping us with this, is putting together events once a month. We bring the office in so we can see each other and talk and interact. But that's the thing that we see that's kind of going on as well. Crystal?
Kiana, I was gonna
go ahead, Brianne.
Okay, I was gonna say real quick that sometimes we don't focus so much on fun. So when someone's laughing and they enjoy where they are, it immediately takes away stress. So I tend to think of I want our team to come to the office and feel like it's a sanctuary, like it's a place that they can rest, but they can also work hard and they can have fun. So we just do random things. In the middle of the day, I'll turn up the music super loud and I'm like, we're having a dance party. Or like last week, I got 10 jokes, right? And I'm shouting them from my office and the team is like, you are so corny. Those jokes are terrible. Stop it. But I was just like really crazy knock jokes. And I shut down the office a couple of Fridays ago. I'm like, we're all going to the spa right now. Let's go. And so just having a culture that someone wants to walk into and feel like they're alive and they're motivated and they're having fun and that they're not, it's not a parental situation, that the leader is not like a parent that
Yeah.
is, snapping at them, but it's a productive, fun environment, induces crazy good health.
Crystal?
I think it's a tough situation. And I say this out of experience, my own experience of being in countless teams over the last 22 years and also coaching teams. And I find the hardest challenge right now with some of the like very highly intellectual, logical, like the software engineers that I work with, they're all in their own offices and they're not very conversational. They have a hard time connecting. And I find it very hard. That is one of the things that I work on, real like that is something we're dealing with now as we speak, is with their leaders asking, how can we build camaraderie because we're so disconnected from each other? And this sense of like everybody wants to be part of a team. It's our nature, right? We like she said, we feel like we're part of a family. We feel like we're part of a tribe, a pride, something where we're not alone, right? And when we're at work, we it's funny because we're trying to find the balance of work is work, fun is fun. And it's like, how do you navigate that? Like I have that all the time. How do I do that? How do I come across more personable? But the reality is that there's so many studies that show that when an employee or a team member feels part of a team, they're going to go over and above for that team more so than they will themselves. Like she said, right? Like if I'm doing a challenge, I may not be able to do it for myself, but because my inner good wants to do good for somebody else. And so it's really taking that and finding what works with those teams to create the camaraderie, right? And the team build. How can I help you? Hey, if we're all excelling, then there's a reward for all of us. Okay, hey, I've already hit my goal. How can I help you get to yours? Just really taking the selfishness out of things and operating with the heart of servitude does wonders, right? For creating this team effort that really helps us in that time where we're like, look, I'm about to lose it. I'm on the verge of burnout. And when one of the executives or an authority or somebody that has a lot of weight on their shoulders, usually they're the ones that experience burnout. And then what happens? Then you're left for other people having to step up, take on these roles, and then they experience burnout, right? It's just this effect of, okay, I'm burned out. Let me help you be proactive so that I see you're on the verge of burnout. You're about to have a breakdown. Let me step in and alleviate that from you. I got you. Go take a break. Are you okay today? I see you, like he said, you're not as talkative today. Is everything okay? Why don't you just take an hour, take 2 hours? I got this. Stepping up to really serve can build that bridge. It really can. And it can do so much for somebody else to say, I saw what you did for her. I'm going to do it too. Without words, you start to see your team like popcorn effect, start stepping up in different ways because we're modeling. Let me take that load off of your back for a second.
Yeah.
And I say that, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and I want to highlight one of our commenters on Facebook Live, just talking about the subject. And one thing that affects us all is our addiction, we call it, to using these things, our cell phones, social media. Yeah, we have Alejandro Sapien says Americans, including us, are legitimately addicted to our phones and social media. It's a disease of the mind. Everyone needs counseling on this. This will be our children's major social problem as they grow. We can get into a whole discussion just on the effect.
A whole seminar.
Yeah. We're going to move to our last question.
There's a documentary out on the addictive nature of like things like Facebook, and then the way they kind of interrupt your day by the notifications and stuff. And most times your mind is so wired, you're waiting for that notification. So you see people watching their phones all the time. So
the social dilemma.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I put on there. I wanted to see that on Netflix. Yeah. So it's an honest fact that many people desire change in health and wellness, yet they do not change. Sometimes it's fear or excuses or habits. So our last question is, and we're going to be mindful of the time. We're going to go a little bit over since we started a little bit later. Do you have any tools or suggestions to help people cross to the path of action instead of just not making choices? We'll start with Dr. Ofodele.
Yeah, so everything has to kind of lie within the human nature, right? Most times we procrastinate, and but you have to be at a point of where you've educated yourself on, this is what I want to do. I want to be healthier. I want to sleep the 8 hours that is required. I need to eat the right food to be healthy. You just have to make a decision to start. There's no way, there's nothing that you can just tell someone now to help them do it. It's like that verbiage that says you can take the camel to the stream, but you can't force it to drink, right? So you can have all the information. So what I'm saying is that people just have to make that decision. Say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and you just take one at a time. Say it's going to bed. I'm like the worst. Bria knows I'm the worst person when it comes to sleeping, because I've always prided myself that I can do it just 2-3 hours a night, but that's not enough. As a physician, I know that's like detrimental to your health. So you set a time. So you want to go to bed at 9 p.m. And I have a colleague that does this, right? So he's just like, before that 9 p.m., you have notices. Again, utilize the phone, because we're always with the phone. You have something that prompts you, it's time to get your pajamas. So maybe like 45 minutes to the time, you're in your pajamas. So whatever else you're doing has to just stop. You just put it down, right? If it's your diet, you say, I'm moving from like my normal French fries meal to plant-based, and you just do a search. You go once a week and you buy everything you need for your meal. Now, it's easier when you prepare everything at one time and just store them in little packs. So that way, you don't get discouraged, like say 2 days or 3 days down the line, oh, I don't feel like cooking, and they just want to reach for that French fries, right? But you have this food all set up. So in essence, the message I'm trying to pass across is just pick something that you want to change, make a decision, put a plan, and work that plan. You just got to make a decision.
Great. Yeah. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Darlene, what are your recommendations?
So I'm a firm believer in, when we know better, we do better. And I've already said that. And something that I use with my clients, with my friends, with my family is it's a fitness and nutrition DNA kit that tells you what best blesses your body. So it's going to tell you what foods best bless your body. Because if you're trying to go out and be healthy and you decide to do keto and you're sensitive to fats, you're setting yourself up for self-sabotage. If you're like my husband and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do cardio, because a lot of times that is our default when we want to lose weight, we want to feel better. Well, for him, he doesn't respond to cardio. For fat loss, he responds to weightlifting. So when we have that knowledge and we have that power, that becomes a tool that we can use for the rest of our life. And it's a fitness and nutrition DNA. That is one set. That's one huge tool. I've recently become a huge fan of reading to empower ourselves. So there is a book called Atomic Habits. You guys want to write that down? It's called Atomic Habits. I'm starting to give that to senior graduations, like high school graduates, and also college graduates, because when we can create habits and we can stack them on each other, that again empowers us. Because I can go tell you to do something all day long. When I tell my mom, okay, you need to do something different. Okay, I'm going to do something different. The next day I'm like, Mom, but what did that look like for you? She has no idea. She just knows she needs to do better, but she has no idea. So I've not done anything for her by telling her she needs to do something. That didn't empower her. That didn't give her a tool. But if I give her what blesses her body, if I give her a way to create habits, that empowers her. She takes ownership of it and she starts doing better. Again, when we know better, we do better. So we have to fill our brains and our minds and our body with the actual information and the knowledge that's specific to us, because my habits might look different than yours. I'm a full-time mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a health and wellness advocate. So my business is going to look different than yours. My habits are going to look different than yours. My DNA is different. So what blesses my body for foods is going to look different. So my meal prep is not going to look like everybody else's. My exercise routine is not going to look like everybody else's. My husband doesn't respond to cardio. My DNA says I have to do HIIT training. I have to work out and lift weights, and I have to do bouts of cardio in between. So it's going to look different for me. So to me, that's a super valuable tool because it's specific to you. So fitness and nutrition DNA and atomic habits, those two right there will really set you up for great success.
Thank you. And JJ?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that failure mentality. Switching your mindset of, okay, so I went through the drive-through. Okay, now I may as well just not work out. I may as well not do that. It's like that domino. You just spin down, your spiral. And so thinking of it as, okay, so yeah, I did that. That's all right. Now, what other choices throughout the day can I do to better myself? It's not a failure, and that's, I think a lot of times people get frustrated. Like I said, they start off really strong and then they look at it. I did this, and I failed. And so you give in, you throw in that towel, and that's it. And that's a mindset that, that is hard, because you need to switch it, and realize, no, that's not a fail. That's called being a human. That's called life. Our lives are always busy. We're always on the go. Quick and easy is what we want. But, in the end, is that quick and easy going to benefit you in the long run? I don't know. Are you going to be in the hospital instead of watching, your children go down the aisle? So it's a lot of things to think about, and the excuses of, I don't have time, I don't have money. Well, there's 24 hours in a day. We all have it. I have a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and I work full time. There's a way. But bringing back to what I said before, you have to love getting uncomfortable, and so, yeah, you may have to wake up before your kids get up. I have small kids. I can't go to the gym. I can't do this. I can't do that. You can set your alarm ahead of time and wake up and turn on whatever you like. That's the main thing with fitness, is you don't have to fit into everybody's mold. If you enjoy walking, go for a walk. If you enjoy going to the gym, go to the gym. If you enjoy Camp Gladiator, do it, right? And I think that's the thing is, yard work. You burn a lot of calories just doing the yard work, maybe not hire somebody to do it. Maybe you get out there and do it, so, and encouraging your family, because you are basically the leader of your family. And so your habits are going to pass on to your children. And if your kids say, hey, mom's going to the drive-through, mom's going to this, mom's, she's not doing anything, I don't have to do anything. I got my, my Xbox and my PlayStation to play on, with a bag of chips. So you're a product of your environment. And it's so important to portray that onto your family, onto your kids. Even if at first they may not be on board. Hey, instead of sitting down and watching TV and having our snacks, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go for a walk. It may be just around the block to start, but it's a start. And I think that's, hiring somebody is always good. Of course, there is money involved with that. But if you can, to get somebody on track with you to kind of set you up for that success, versus being blind, trying to start a whole fitness program and not knowing, and then you feel like you failed again, but you haven't. You're taking that initiative and you're starting.
And so I just want to say a big shout out to all you working mothers, because I'm not a morning person. So
I'm going to say working dad too, because Daniel's about to jump on us.
Working dads, working parents during this pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, 45 seconds or less. Crystal?
Okay, I'm gonna make it real easy. You asked for a tool to help people get out of their mind, right? Usually it's our mind that keeps us stagnant. And so I have the 3 Ps. And it's pretty easy. It helps us set our goals and positive, right? Set a goal that's positive, that gives you a good feeling that you're excited about. And then make it personal and make it possible, right? And one of the things that I find is if we make it too big, we can become overwhelmed. Cut it down to little bites, right? Like, yeah, I want to do a 6-week keto. How do I get there? In 6 weeks, it becomes overwhelming. Let me start today. And this morning, I'm going to say no to these things. And that first step, that little baby step, helps you get past the fear of like, okay, can I say no? Oh, I did it. You feel a little stronger. And you gain power, you gain confidence, you gain courage, and you gain you believe in yourself because you've been able to say no, and then you create a habit and a discipline. It starts one small step at a time. Break it down. Break it down. Don't look at the big, massive goal. I want this is the big goal, but let's look at today. Take it one step at a time. Did I get past breakfast? Yes. Did I get past lunch? Yes. I failed at dinner. No problem. Start again tomorrow.
Right.
Don't
Thank you.
overwhelm ourselves.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
I would love
guys.
to add just one thing to that,
Okay.
Crystal. That was so powerful, the compound effect. If you can just start with water, just drink water. Just say for 2 weeks, I'm going to drink water. And then on top of that, I would just add the key word that made me change was that I thought I could handle everything myself. And
Yeah,
so
right.
another P to that is what people are in your environment. If I have people at the office that eat, terrible all day, it's going to cause me, what is in my environment? Who is like, every time I eat, I have to send JJ a picture. It's terrible. And if I don't, she's like, Brianne, where's your picture? So what people do you have? You don't have to do it alone. You have the opportunity to have healthy people. Don't get advice per se for someone that's not healthy. Really, who is your visionary of what you want to look like? I look at Darlene and JJ's arms and I'm like, yes. So can
Yes,
you
I
please
would
be
love
my
that. I was looking at those
accountability partner?
arms.
I'm like, how do you get arms like that? I want arms like that. So I want you to be my coach. And so what people do you have in your circle every single day? You have to have a support system every single day. And I report to people and coaches every single day because I want to grow in so many areas, and excuses will fester in me and become bigger and bigger and bigger if I don't have external support.
And we want to thank everybody because of time, we're going to have to wrap it up. I know we can go for a whole nother hour, but we definitely want to thank you guys. And for our family out there watching Facebook Live, please check the comments, because if you want to have further discussions with any of our panelists, their information is listed. We have some wonderful, wonderful coaches and doctors that joined us today. And we want to invite everybody to join us. We're talking about our physical health and mental health and emotional. Well, next month, we're going to talk about financial health. We're going to talk about financial health for business owners and for companies. So definitely want to have you to come out. Again, we're here at 10 a.m. Facebook Live and Zoom, the third Friday of every month, supporting our Pearland Chamber of Commerce. And we want to give you guys back your Friday, and thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Dr.
Bye, everybody.
Darlene,
Have a
and
blessed
JJ.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thank
See
you
y'all
guys
later.
so much. This
Bye,
is
guys.
Tony.
Bye.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Jennifer, are you?
Yeah.
Never mind. Hang on. Let's stop this. Hang on.